a slave name server is there's no independent data on either of these services, identifying systems on the local network, and that can help keep crackers from identifying different targets within your network. But before we get there, we have to look at host name resolution. And host name resolution is done in a certain order. For most services, they look at the etc/nsswitch.conf configuration file. The highlighted directive suggests that such services first look at the etc/host configuration file. If it doesn't find the domain name or host name in that file, it then looks for a DNS server. Some older services still use etc/host.conf for name resolution search order, and that directive essentially says the same thing. The order of name searches first goes to the etc/host file, followed by bind, which is short for the Berkeley Internet Name Domain, the standard Linux software for DNS services. Host names in etc/host usually include at least the IP version 4 and IP version 6 versions of the loopback address. As an administrator, you're free to add more addresses. Note that I've added a couple of addresses on the 192.168.0.0 network for some virtual hosts I created. Any address not found in etc/host then searches for a DNS server, and DNS server should be configured in the resolver configuration file, etc/resolve.conf. As you can see here, it's a simple file. The directives in this file are straightforward. They identify one or more name servers with an IP address. Of course, it has to be an IP address, otherwise a name server would be required to look for a name server, and that would never work. Once a name server or a DNS server is found, name server is another name for a DNS server, then its database can be searched. Searches that don't find the desired domain name in the DNS server database can and should be forwarded to other DNS servers automatically as needed. And we'll see some properly configured DNS server configuration files, at least for caching and slave name servers, in other videos.